Welcome to Brilliantly British. My name is Lawrence and today I'm going to show you how to make a Boxty bake. So as I show you how, please sit back, relax with a cup of tea in hand, putting those feet of yours up to, and enjoy this episode. And don't forget to subscribe. To date, 2 Irish Boxty recipes have appeared on the channel, both of which I'm sure you'll agree were stunning. And in this episode, we'll be adding a 3rd recipe to the channel in the form of our hearty Boxty bake. Step by step, you'll be walked through the dish's preparation before we crown everything off at the end with a session of tasting. And so now, with the introductions made and your interest peaking, please allow me to introduce the ingredients to you. For today's Brilliantly British Boxty bake, you will need some grated cheese. You can go for cheddar or any other delicious hard yellow cheese. You will need some cold, unseasoned, unbuttered mashed potato, some plain white flour, some butter, some white pepper, some nutmeg, some garlic cloves, some full fat milk, some fresh chives, whole leeks, some good quality smoked bacon, and some whole raw potatoes, supplemented of course with the addition of salt and pepper to taste. And that, my friends, is all, yes, all that you will need for today's Brilliantly British Boxty bake. But before you get started, before you do anything at all, please switch on your kettles, brew yourselves a nice cup of hot tea so that you can sip on that whilst you bake. To begin preparing a Boxty bake, first finely or coarsely grate potatoes before squeezing to remove excess starch and moisture. Having then turned the gratings into a bowl, turn in your mashed potato, flour and salt, mixing the ingredients together at first with a spoon or spatula, and then kneading together with your hands to form a dough. With the dough made on a floured surface, roll out by hand and then divide into 3 to 4 equally sized pieces before rolling each division out into equal length strands. With the strands made and brought closely together, proceed by chopping into 1 to 2 centimeter length pieces, afterwards transferring to a tray or board in preparation for cooking. To cook the Boxty, summon a pot of salted water which should be brought to a gentle boil, at which point the Boxty should then be relocated, cooking the dumplings in batches to prevent overcrowding. With the Boxty now in over a medium heat, bring the contents back to a rolling boil, which should afford you time to lightly grease a tray in preparation. With time, the Boxty should rise to the surface, and it is at this point the Boxty should be boiled for a further 12 minutes before being removed and placed onto your greased tray, and repeating with any remaining Boxty. Once cooked, the Boxty should resemble those on screen now, which you'll want to set aside momentarily. This part of the recipe will now entail melting butter over a medium heat, into which will go sliced leek with a pinch of salt, cooked quickly under a lid until the leek wilted, transferring it afterwards into a bowl which should be set aside. In the same pan, I'll then begin to slowly render diced bacon, once again under a lid over a medium-low heat, until visibly brown and crisp, extracting the bacon only at that point, leaving behind the flavoursome fat. The fat left in the pan was then topped up with a knob of butter, which, once molten, was then combined with flour and then cooked for 2 to 3 minutes over a medium heat before milk was incrementally incorporated to form the early beginnings of our sauce. Still over a medium heat, stir or whisk constantly as the contents heat up in order to prevent the formation of lumps. Then, once the sauce begins to emit steam, add crushed or finely minced garlic, white pepper, nutmeg, salt, and pepper in order to season your sauce to perfection, before transferring to a suitably sized bowl within which all components of the dish will be combined. Then, after beginning to preheat your oven, recall your bacon and leek at first, thereafter recalling your boxty, which should be coated thoroughly, preceding a transfer to a baking dish or pan, topped with a generous covering of cheese to finish the dish's assembly before transferring to your oven, leaving you with time to relax and rehydrate with brilliantly British content in hand, making sure, of course, to help us out by liking and subscribing. Thank you. Once ready, your boxty bake should be light brown and fill your dwellings with the welcomed aroma of molten cheese. And after exercising approximately 10 minutes of patience, the boxty bake should be ready to literally crack open and portion, with it being finished off with an optional sprinkling of chives. And so now, with a delicious boxty bake made and your interest peaking, I think it's high time for tasting, tasting, tasting. Are you ready? Are you steady? 3, 2, 1. Amazing and wonderfully familiar. One of the things that comes to mind is the fact that the flavor combinations here, in one sense, are nothing new. They will be of no surprise to many Northern Europeans because it's the classic flavor combination of leek, cheese, bacon. You can't go wrong with that. And of course, there's a lovely creamy sauce to combine, to unite all of those elements together with the boxty, which has this wonderfully pillow-like texture, which for many will be a surprise. When you look at this, it looks like many baked British dishes. It's amazing. It's fantastic and fantastically simple, as you've seen. I don't know what else needs to be said. It's wonderfully rich, I might add as well. It's a very rich and satisfying dish. It's comfort food. It's the epitome of comfort food, as you've probably guessed. And so, with all of that being said, given that you've been made aware of all of the ingredients needed to make this wonderful dish, I now ask you to go out to your local supermarkets, your local shops, and make this boxty bake, please. Thank you all for allowing me to show you how to make a boxty bake. Knowing that you loved this episode, don't forget to click on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you don't miss any of our new releases. Tell everyone, and I mean everyone, about the brilliantly British food on this channel, and follow us on all of the social media platforms that this channel is on, and I will see you next time.